Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into my video today. And as you can see by the thumbnail, this video I wanted to give my personal top 10 recommendations for if you're trying to build out your Return of the Jedi shelf. Return of the Jedi is one of my favorite movies of the entire original trilogy. It's just something that I put on in the back. It's just a feel-good movie. It's my go-to movie. I love Empire. I love 77: A New Hope, but Return of the Jedi was just something special to me as a kid. I can't really explain it. But today I wanted to do 10 figures that I feel like are must-haves for anybody's Return of the Jedi display or collection. So in reference to making this video, I was left a comment by someone on YouTube. Their account is called Mudhorn Station, and he left me a comment on one of my last videos that I did. It was, you might have seen it or not, but if you haven't, go check that out. I really appreciate it. Just not me bashing any figures, but it's 10 figures that I feel like Hasbro didn't really need to make, 10 figures that wasn't really necessary for the sequels and such. It's very odd choices, character selection wise and such. But he actually left the comments on that video saying, I must admit I approached this video with a slight sense of dread, given a tendency on similar videos by other creators not to just bash the sequel trilogy, but bash the people that love them. I was glad that you tempered that somewhat. And then he goes on to explain how he likes the throne set, and he also gives me some credit for like the Rose Tico, stuff like that. And at the end of this comment, he does ask, he says, interesting video. How about perhaps doing a series on the top 10 most essential Black series for quote-unquote insert movie title display piece. So I just wanted to say, Mudhorn, thank you so much for the feedback. Thank you so much for commenting and watching, tuning into that video. So I wanted to say thank you for me covering this topic video today. Very good excuse to do one. So very much appreciate the feedback and the input. I'm always open to video ideas. So if you ever want to see me or talk about something or hear my thoughts and opinions, you always leave it down in the comments and ask me what I think about something. I'll do a video, whatever, you know. But shout out to Mudhorn Station. Thank you so much for the comment, dude. So that is kind of where I got the inspiration and influence to go ahead and do this video. I do have other similar top 10 to such, but I see I'm yapping too long now. Y'all don't want to hear me yap and run my mouth. Y'all ready to see how to build your essential Return of the Jedi collection. These are some of my favorite figures in the line, so without further ado, let's get on into this list. So starting off, and this is I don't really have these ranked from like better to worse or anything like that. These are just 10 figures that I feel like are must-haves, and they're just essential for a Return of the Jedi display. So these are not 1 to 10, like 1 being the best or 10 being the worst or anything like that. It's just 10 figures that I recommend to everybody who's getting into the Black Series, or you or Return of the Jedi focused, eccentric, and you're as much of a passionate fan for RRTJ as I am. So with that being said, number 1 is Luke Skywalker, and this is the Return of the Jedi card back that you can get, and this is such an awesome figure, man. It's one of the best Lukes that we have. The likeness is okay, but just the way the figure moves, he's got super buttery smooth articulation, and the blade on the saber is super vibrant green, and it's the definitive Return of the Jedi Luke that we've all been waiting for. So when they came out, I believe it was 2023, I believe. It's just such an awesome figure. It might have been even 24 if I'm not. I might be a little. It's one of my favorite card backs. I actually have it up here on my wall. It's an awesome, badass card back. But Luke is essentially the one who brings Anakin back to light. He's the one that convinces Anakin to come from Vader. You know, towards the end of the movie, when he fulfills his destiny, Anakin truly is. He is the Jedi that has returned, not Luke. You know. But with that being said, Luke is an absolute must-have essential. His all-black outfit. Dude, I remember that was in the early days when me and my brother were obsessed with Star Wars. Obviously, not a time in my life I don't remember having my Star Wars in my life. But me and my brother would wear all black just because of Luke Skywalker, literally. We were that obsessed and thought Luke was that badass. But Luke Skywalker, it's an amazing figure. It's got an okay likeness, but just the way that it moves, it's a great, great definitive Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker. And my second pick for this list is the Jabba the Hutt Return of the Jedi set with the awesome Kenner freaking packaging, man. It's so awesome, so badass, just very nostalgic, and pays homage and just a throwback to the Kenner line. And honestly, I still have my box. The cool Kenner boxes like that I tend to keep. But honestly, this is not like some crazy articulated figure or anything like that. It's a must-have for Return of the Jedi, because Jabba's palace is one of the most iconic scenes in Return of the Jedi, and it's just seeing that big slimy slug for the first time. It was a moment to behold, man. You're seeing this like weird thing as a kid, you know, especially as a kid, and you're seeing this weird slug creature chaining up Princess Leia. It's like pissing you off, you know, and you're Luke comes in there to save the day, follows him with the Rancor. You get Boba Fett. You got the Max Rebo band. There's so much going on in Jabba's Palace. You have the Jabba's Palace Denizens, Black Series, Hasbro. Give us some Jabba's Palace Denizens. There's just so much going on in that scene for Jabba's Palace. Obviously, Han getting frozen, unfrozen in Carbonite. Leia as Bausch getting disguised and then getting busted. Obviously, Luke coming in and fighting the Rancor. There's so much in that scene. And obviously, we have the scene out in the Tatooine desert when they get on the skiff and the barge and they go out to the Sarlacc pit. Just super, super rich scene. And that is iconic for Return of the Jedi. Everybody knows who Jabba the Hutt is. It's like Jabba the Hutt is up there with Luke Skywalker, Vader, and a Stormtrooper. Even if you don't watch Star Wars, everybody knows who Jabba the Hutt is, you know? So, and the paint on this thing is absolutely fantastic. It does have the little gimmick where if you pull the arm, it opens his mouth at the same time. So you go, you know? So it's really, really cool freaking set, man. And it's not super articulated. It does have some elbow articulation, I believe, wrist articulation, shoulder articulation, and then it's got a mid diaphragm cut, so you can have some side to side tilt. And obviously, I'm gonna throw all like images and stuff on the screen, or here to the right of me or left of me on your screen, depending on how this is formatted. But yeah, you gotta have Jabba. If you're gonna have a Return of the Jedi display, you gotta have Jabba, man. And if you get the Return of the Jedi set, the newer one with the Kenner card back, you get the Hookah set, you get Salacious Crumb. It's just the way to go if you want Jabba in your collection, man. And number 3 is an absolutely awesome figure. It's one of the most highly revered and loved, highly regarded figures in the line, and it's the Gamorrean Guard. And I have one on cardback and one loose on the shelf. I want to get another one so I can have two kind of flanking Jabba, you know. And it's just, you got the first soft goods on this, which looks absolutely phenomenal. It works very well for the figure. The articulated jaw, the way that the figure, it's very bulky, but it moves. It has very good articulation. And just the sculpt is just on point, man. Hasbro does such a great job with their aliens and droids, but specifically with their aliens, the figure stands well. It has a good balance to it. The paint is absolutely on point, and the paint and the sculpt just complement each other so well, which is what a sculpt and paint are supposed to do. And I just love that figure so freaking much, man. It's a must-have. Just absolutely, absolutely have to have it for your Return of the Jedi display. For number 4, I have to go with the Endor Rebel Trooper. This is just, it's a very cool figure, even when they have the different face plates and such, so you can have the Old Man Rex or Nick Sant face, you can have the younger male version, and then you have the 2 different blasters, the DH-17 and then I forget what the other one is called, AC-170. I'm blanking. I'm not that great on certain weapons. I know some weapons, but it's just an awesome figure, man. It really sucks that it was a deluxe price, though, even though it was really just the pants that were camouflage. And even then, if you bend the knee joints were just casted in that gray plastic, and it made it look a little weird when you try to put them in kneeling or like lunging stances, and you could see that gray knee, you know. If they had cast in like a brown or a green, like a dark olive green plastic, it would have helped. But and then obviously you don't want to put paint on the joints right there, because when you articulate it, it's just over time it's going to rub off and scrape off, you know, just from a friction point of view, you know. But it's a really great figure. It moves very, very well. It's kind of like a G.I. Joe in the Black Series, you know. Just, it's got the really cool deco. Obviously, you get the face plates, you get the backpack, you get the 2 different blasters. Very, very awesome figure, and it's just I really like how the face sculpts, the face plates. I wish they would do more like that. Obviously, the Endor Rebel Trooper is another figure we can reference to. It had the 2 different face plates of the baby-faced, shaved male, and the one with a little bit of scruff on there. The face plates are definitely a way to go to add variation, and it'd be cool to see them implement that further with like other troopers, but obviously you don't have to with clones because they all look the same. But imagine getting different clone facial expressions, you know. That would be pretty cool to do with faceplate wise. But yeah, Endor Rebel Trooper, it's a must-have for your Return of the Jedi collection, man. And number 5 is, obviously the name of my channel is named after this faction of warriors, and it is Boba Fett, who is arguably, he's not really a Mandalorian. Obviously, I know how all that goes, but he still has his father's armor, which was Mandalorian armor. Can't argue that point. But Boba Fett, you gotta have Boba Fett. And the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett it's the best version of Boba Fett. Obviously, the Empire Strikes Back, it just came out earlier. It's very dated. I want to say it was like 2015 or 14, something like that. Just obviously very dated articulation. But the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett is where it's at, man. It's got great articulation, extremely awesome paint, and just loaded, absolutely loaded with accessories. And it is truly, I feel like, a true deluxe in the Black Series, man. You get the jetpack, the flame effects for the jetpack, you get the grapnel rope, you get the I forget what his weapon's called, but you get, I know it. I know his weapon. I literally know his weapon. I'm just blanking right now. But you get the one that Luke cuts in half, and you can put it. He's loaded down with accessories. Like I said, I just feel like it is a true deluxe as far as the Black Series is concerned. And the paint is also awesome. It's got the very nice, got a little more paint, got like more of the reddish blue on it on the jetpack compared to where Empire was more of that neutral dark green, olive green color, you know. But absolutely awesome, awesome figure. It's a must-have for, let alone a Star Wars shelf. You got to have it if you're going to have a Return of the Jedi shelf, man. And just, and then you can, another thing is you can find this figure for actually under 30 bucks. Like I've seen them for about 25, 30. Even sometimes if you check your local comic shops, you might be able to find them loose in a baggie or something for 20 bucks. You never know. So, but yeah, Boba Fett is just, obviously he didn't really have that much screen time before Luke kind of disposes of him and he falls into the Sarlacc pit. But just having him in the Empire, just standing in the background looking badass. And then obviously that transition to Return of the Jedi, he just looks cool. He's in the cantina. He's charming the Jabba's dancer girls, the Twi'leks and shit, like throwing on the Boba, the Fett charm, the Mandalorian charm. It's just, you gotta have Boba Fett in your collection, man. It's a must-have. Number 6, gotta reserve that for the Murder Death Bears, the Ewoks. You cannot have a Return of the Jedi display without Ewoks. It's the essential part of up to the early middle, and to the end of the movie on Endor and Return of the Jedi. And seeing those these little bears that were so primitive, it's just like, you know, they look cute, but they're about to eat Han and Luke and Chewie and all the, you know, it's like, there's dark elements to it. But then obviously 3PO, they see him as a god and, you know, they worship him and stuff. You got it, like, and for example, you got Wicket, you got Tebow, you got Paploo. There's a lot of other named Ewoks that I'm not even aware of, but they are out there. And the sculpt on these guys, it sucks that we have to pay full price with little to no accessories with a lot of these Ewoks, because they're basically like a third or a half of an actual Black Series 6-inch figure, because obviously they're Ewoks, they're smaller. So, but man, the sculpt and the paint on these, like all the fur detail from head to toe, the different deco for their overlays, like you got Tebow's little like warthog helmet, and you have Wicket's little hood and stuff. The Ewoks are a must-have and an essential part of the end of Return of the Jedi. It's actually what helps the Rebel Alliance pretty much overwhelm the Empire, was having the Ewoks around, you know? So if it wasn't for the Ewoks, that whole situation on Endor could have gone a little bit differently, as goofy as it would have been when, I forget which one stole the speeder. But yeah, man, if you're going to have a Return of the Jedi display, you have to have some Ewoks. And the only 3 that I believe we have right now, besides the holiday editions, are Tebow, Wicket, and Paploo. So we have 3 Ewoks, and I just feel like when you get them all together, they really fill out the shelf so nicely. Must have, man. Number 7, I had to give to the Endor Han Solo, and it's basically just a Return of the Jedi Han Solo, but he does come with the very cool like camo trench coat that he wears towards like basically in the beginning of the movie. And it's Han Solo, man. You gotta have Han Solo, dude. And it's so nice that we actually got a new version of the A New Hope Han Solo, which just came out this year. It looks, that likeness to Harrison Ford, they did a fantastic job. Superb likeness with it. It's not like a Hot Toy level, but for a 1/12 scale action figure compared to what was from the Power of the Force carback version, it's come a long way. It's come a long way. So you got, and then the Endor Han, before this newer A New Hope version came out, the Endor Han Solo was kind of the go-to for a definitive Han Solo, because it just had the best Harrison likeness, you know, and obviously has the cool outfit. It's very typical. It's got the striped pants. I forget, you know, I forget it's the yellow stripes or the burgundy stripes. Obviously the costumes vary from movie to movie, but even still, man, Han Solo, you have to have him in the display. Not even Return of the Jedi. You have to have Han Solo in your Star Wars display, point blank period. And just kind of continuing off the momentum of the Endor Han Solo, you got to get Princess Leia. And now you could go 2 ways with this. You could get the village, the Ewok village Princess Leia, but the way that the hair is sculpted, it doesn't really have a whole lot of head articulation. Posing's a little, unless you just have her standing there looking cool, you know. It is a good looking figure, The likeness is not terrible. Obviously, some people think it doesn't really look like Carrie. I can kind of see it. It's not the best by any means, but it's a good looking figure. It doesn't really have the greatest articulation or anything. But if you want a Princess Leia, it's definitely a go-to. It's one that you can, it's an option there that you have available. And it's very cheap. It's like literally like 10, 12 bucks. It's very, very cheap. But what I would recommend is the Endor. Actual, not the Ewok Village Princess Leia, but the actual Endor Princess Leia, where she's got the little poncho like Luke has. She's got the Rebel Alliance Trooper cap, the Endor Trooper cap. And you can take all that off and have it like, because towards the end of the movie, she's not even wearing her poncho anymore. She's just wearing her normal, what was underneath the poncho and stuff. Obviously, after she goes with the Ewoks and changes into whatever those clothes that they made for her, and then they go on to blow up the bunker, and she changes back into her, her mission clothes and such. But it's a really good looking figure. The likeness to Carrie Fisher is not the best by any means, but it's there. It's Princess Leia, and I just feel like if you're already building up, you're getting the Ewoks, you're getting Han, you might as well go ahead and grab Princess Leia too. And so for number 9, I had to put Bib Fortuna, and this just goes up there with Jabba's palace denizens and such. He was Jabba's right-hand man. What they wanna. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just seeing Bib Fortuna at the beginning of the movie, and like, obviously, when he's fucking with 3PO and R2, and he brings him to Jabba, and then Luke comes in later, and Jedi mind tricks him, and you serve your master well. Like, he's just very weak mind. Bib Fortuna, and it's just a cool sculpt. It's a cool Twi'lek sculpt. And he's in Return of the Jedi. And he looks great posted up next to Jabba. By the time if you're fleshing out your Return of the Jedi shelf, at this point in time, you're all in. You're all in at this point. You're getting all these figures. You're already getting the Gamorrean Guards. You're already trying to snag Jabba. You might as well just go ahead and get Bib Fortuna. Get you Jabba, get you 2 Gamorrean Guards, and get you Bib Fortuna, man. That's a freaking fire Return of the Jedi display, if I do say so myself. And even if you have 4 figures in your collection, it's still a collection. It's a great way to start. Now, granted, Jabba's a little bit more expensive. He's about $100. You can probably find him for $90 if you really look around on eBay or something. But either way, you're not worried about price. You're in this for the love and the passion of Star Wars, and you're trying to build something that's beyond money. You're trying to build something that brings pleasure and happiness to you, and that's what matters. So yeah, Bib Fortuna, number 9. Gotta have him, dude. Number 10, absolutely iconic moment. You gotta have Emperor Palpatine and his throne. And they actually did re-release this, which I got, which was the updated paint apps on the... It comes with 3 different alt heads, the lightning hands, the throne itself. And it sucks because the re-release version, the Palpatine doesn't... The stitching is very slack. There's not really any stitching on the soft goods, which is a little bit of a letdown. They did the same thing with the re-release of the Revenge of the Sith, Count Dooku. No stitching in his soft goods. Very slack of you, Hasbro. But anyways, it's still a great set. And for people that missed out on this or weren't collecting it at the time that it came out, which was before 2020 sometime, I believe, that set was getting kind of pricey in the aftermarket unless you were willing to go to Etsy and spend $30-$45 on somebody 3D printing you a throne and painting it up and this and that. Now you can just buy it all there, $45, get the figure, the lightning hands, the alt heads, the throne, everything. You have it. And it is a cool set. I'm very happy to have it. You probably see him. Where is he at? Right back. There he is, right there in his throne. But it's Return of the Jedi. I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. Luke throws the saber to. It's just one of the most badass, iconic scenes, and it's really the turning point of Return of the Jedi. It's really kind of waking Anakin up from within Vader, and it's just a crucial piece. By the time you have 2 Royal Guard, which is another, and after the video, I want to know. I'll go ahead and say it now. If you think I'm missing any figures that should be in this list, go ahead and comment down below. One that I'm thinking of right now that I probably could have included was the Royal Guard. The Royal Guard would have been is a great part of Return of the Jedi. The screen time is very minimal, but they're still in there. And having 2 Royal Guards with flanking with Palpatine on his throne, it's badass, man. Pure cinema, peak cinema, as the kids say, peak. But it's an option for $45. Sucks that they didn't go all the way with the stitching, and it is lacking on the soft goods. It's kind of cheap feeling a little bit. But by the time you pose them up and you just have them sitting in the throne, you're going to see that on your shelf. You're not. The stitching is aggravating. It doesn't sit as well. What I would recommend is picking up an archive Emperor Palpatine. You can find them for $10-15 on Amazon or comic shops. Pick up that archive Emperor Palpatine because the hood and all the lining of the soft goods actually has some very nice stitching done, and it kind of holds and lays more naturally like actual clothing would, like fabric, I would recommend picking up the throne set so you can get the lightning hands and the throne, and then pick up that archive. All in all, it does suck because you're paying $45 for the Emperor and his throne set, and another $15-16 on top of that. So you're in it for about $50 at this point just to get. But in my opinion, that archive Palpatine with the nice stitching is worth having, and it's actually the one that I have displayed. I have one displayed with the lightning hands, and then the one that came with the set with the slack soft goods just sitting on the throne. So it's all up to you. It's whatever you want to do, but I feel like this set is definitely a must-have for a Return of the Jedi display, bar none. All right, everybody, so that is going to wrap up my top 10 figures to flesh out and build up your Return of the Jedi display. And like I said, Return of the Jedi is one of my... It is probably my favorite of the original trilogy. Obviously, you could argue Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars, you know, and 77 still holds a nostalgic place. It's what created it and started it all, but as far as my personal favorite, not best or anything, but my personal favorite, Return of the Jedi is just, it holds a special place in my heart, man. And yeah, it's just so awesome from the beginning to end. It's just I'm always in it and invested, dude. Even especially as a kid. But with that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button. Comment down below on what you'd like to see me do next. If you have any ideas for topic videos or other top 10s, I'm going to keep going on with this. My next one will probably be top 10 essential must-have for an Empire Strikes Back display. So I had a lot of fun doing this video. Shout out to Mudhorn Station for commenting this. Had a fun time making this video. I hope you all enjoy it. Like I said, smack that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you.